Yo, what's going on? It's me, boy, Element Reptile. How's it going? Oh, let me just give myself a little bit. But how's it going, everybody? How's it going? How's it going? Look, today we're talking about something very quick that happened to this day. Now, if anybody who knows about the news from about the things going on with anime, gotcha games, Genshin Impact, manga, to doujins, to parodies, whichever, all the things that many of us who grew up with or are very familiar with, way before the pandemic ever happened. We all know about the construct, the attacks that's going on with these, with the tourists. Now let me be real with you, okay? I seldom was a tourist. However, I did still watch anime way before this whole wave in the pandemic happened. So the thing is that since so many attacks, so many trying to be attempts of censoring has roared up, abruptly to this kind of stuff, right? I mean, a roar to this kind of stuff like so ridiculously. Just gotta be sure my special effects doesn't work around that way. Anyways, we got a very known director. The director for some of the most iconic animes out there, like Neon Genesis Evangelion, to Godzilla Minus One, who's recently did, and many others, I think he did also be part of a Dragon Ball. No, he did part of Ghost of the Shell too. I think I might believe. This guy goes by the name Hideyoki Anno. Hideyoki Anno, who is widely best known for Akira and Neon Genesis Evangelion, actually. He did Akira. He did Evangelion and again. So what he said was that with all the bullshit that went down in the anime scene, like with all the bullshit that has been going down on these reactions to that the global market that was trying to, people trying to conform to the global audience that who never cared about the anime or who gets so sensitive and uptight as a motherfucker over certain content that anime is known to have. I was once that person to a bit, but I was introduced to a very, very cultural genre. So then I realized this shit's hot. Just kidding. What I'm trying to say is this shit is part of something that is from another country. You can't imagine if I was in McDonald's, right? And I see the food mark, like all the menus that is all fast food and junk food. But I somehow get very mad at that menu. Yet McDonald's is known making for fucking fast food. Hypocrisy, isn't it? That's exactly what's happening with these tourists. That's exactly what's happening with these normies who come here. That's exactly what's happening, with both sides of the spectrum, including certain artists who wanted to get into the act. I never seen someone this based, and decided to say, you know what, the global. I don't believe that the global market is the way to go, but the audience will have to be the ones to adapt. That nigga's based. This guy, he said it himself, because even Neon Genesis Evangelion has covered some very great topics, very dark topics, but it also has known for fan service. It's known for fan service. What do you expect? It's known for fan service, dog. So, as that happened, right? Hideyoki Anno, right? Dude, like, this guy has to be sent on one right here. So, it says it in this part. And this is from Hideyoki Anno, right? Recently, director... Oops. What went down? Okay. So he said this. The Japanese content industry has been steadily going global for over the past few years, with increasing government support, you know, government support and a fleshed out expansion strategy. It is estimated to reach a market size of 20 trillion yen by 2033. Recently, Neon Genesis Evangelion directed Hideyoki Anno sat down with Forbes Japan to talk about the changes it has brought to the industry as it further expands in the overseas market. When he asked about these changes are impacting the way Japanese content is made and distributed, Anno remarked that anime and film studios haven't made any conscious changes in the past years, even though the environment itself has slightly changed. I personally never made anything with overseas audience in mind. I can only make domestic stuff production. Companies are quick to say, think about the overseas market, but personally, that's not my goal, he said. He explained. My stance is simply, it first needs to be a work that will be well received and found interesting in Japan. But if by any chance people overseas also found it interesting, I'd be grateful for that. You know, I wasn't considering the overseas market at all. He said he wasn't considering it. Yeah, he wasn't considering it. But you know, and he keeps going. Works that are made through a Japanese thought process can only be understood in Japanese. Film has both visual and sound elements. So compared to the other forms of storytelling, the language barrier is not that. However, lines in the scripts are still Japanese, and the drama is still achieved through the thoughts and feelings the characters experience in Japanese. Yeah, and like you need to like it's always a language barrier. People don't understand that kind of stuff. No, there, and that's another thing that has been talked about. I've been hearing a lot of stories about localizers, you know, trying to change the subtitles. They're trying to change the text. So therefore, that's why people had to resort to pirated sites with fan dubs or fan subs that are translatable, that they had to translate by human beings. But even that, I mean, they're terrible. They're terrible, bro. But he said it. My stance is simple: it first needs to be work that was found interesting in Japan, right? And he said that it's not my goal. It is not his goal, honestly. You know, film is a one-way road. Even if even the audience complains, that it doesn't necessarily mean that the complaints are reaching the creators. Film isn't a medium that economists its contents or the viewer. That's why the audience has to trust the creators in what is interesting, and that's why I think it's completely fine to keep production domestic. He said even Ghibli and Hayao Miyazaki stick to domestic production, and I'm sure they don't even think about the overseas market. No, they don't. No, that's why they do it, right? Because look, he said is on we should be let the business people turn our works, you know, into products and sell them, right? We turn our works and sell them, and that's the best course of action. Best course of action. But a part of why Japanese works haven't been able to the West until now is because we are kind of bad at selling them. And that another part as it too is that you know, like it's how it's delivered, you know, that's because it's just a cultural barrier. Things in the West just works too differently than the things happening in Japan. That's on their behalf, you know. But yet again, you have a lot of this content that's been, you know, that's been yelled and needed by us Westerners. But we're only following to Shonen Jump. We are only following down to Shonen Jump. That nothing else, and that should be stopped. That should be stopped. That's why you have certain animes like My Dress Up Darling and Fragrant Flower Feathers, or some parts of Mao Mao, or Mushoku Tensei, the isekais, right? They get chastised, they get attacked for being all, you know, Diddy bloody Epstein bullshit, right? Over that shit. And it's just a different medium. And if it's comedy or something like that, something mystery or romance, but they don't feel that. But we Westerners don't feel that way, you know? Yes, on the other hand, he said they're kind of bad at selling them on the way. Well, that's because we don't know about that shit. Hollywood has a closed ass brain. These pussies don't have a functioning brain anymore, right? So think about just the domestic product. We'll do the transition to on the English dub and the sub, right? That we can know, but it's gonna need to stay. But the whole concept of trying to focus to us, that's not gonna work out. It is not gonna work out, and we all seen that, right? And he said it himself right here. I'm sorry, but the audience will have to be the one to adapt. Yeah, he literally like there are people that these tourists that now they're introduced to anime around the COVID, even after COVID, right? They just feel so weird. I remember talking to one guy who said he's watching, all these animes. Like, oh, I watch anime. Okay, too, yeah. It's like I watch also this one called the Rising of the Shield Hero. I was like, it's just, I like the like the expansion, the storytelling, but I just don't like that weird shit. That weird. He's talking about fan service. It's like, hey, listen, man. I mean, that's part of the thing. No one can change them. That stuff is made in Japan. Like, yeah, but they need to cut that shit out, man. If only they didn't do that weird Diddy blood shit. Like, bro, like, dude, these are just fucking drawings. Number one. Number two, they're not real. And that's another thing. I remember this one anime nerd who gave me about this, and I talk about Kill la Kill, and I always thought, fuck, bro, Ryuko is so hot. And then he suddenly reacts as, bro, Ryuko Matoi is 17. I'm like, nigga, she's not even real. She's not even real. Right? And this is way back from before COVID. That kind of attitude that is now trying to be enforced from this small little audience. Oh no, actually there's a majority who are now of normies who are trying to jump in, into that stuff. But because here's the thing, guys like me, we're casual, all right? Yes, I watch anime. I watched Michiko Hashkin. I saw Space Dandy. I watched Death Note. I saw Basilisk, Dead Man Wonderland, parts of Sword Art Online, but that was with a friend. That was during high school. I saw an anime movie, but it was isekai, but I forgot what it was. I saw Afro Samurai, right? I watch crossovers, Dream 9, Toriko, One Piece Luffy. Yes, I love crossovers. Raver and Fairy Tail. Now those, that really proves to me a bit, but I'm not out there yet. I did start to see a bit of Monogatari, but, fan service happened, and then, kind of round me up. But even so, but ignore that shit. Okay. Fucking Heavenly Delusion, the new one, right? That one that Disney Plus released, that had fan service. No one batted an eye, but the parents did it. The parents batted an eye, but it covered. Well, it's not for you. It's not for you. If you ain't down about that shit, that all anime is known to have. Bro, One Piece had fan service. Bleach had fan service. Dragon Ball has fan service. Dude. If you just can't handle it, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. That period is that. So that's why there are guys like him and the rest that does Ghost in the Shell. Right? They say, look, they say that it's the audience. It's you. You need to learn to adjust to this. This is a content. This is a medium that is specifically for those who are accustomed, who are fans of it. Who feel connected to that, all right? And that includes, dark themes. Our Western audiences, we're just catching up. Recently, there's this I know aside from Arcane and Invincible, there's this other I think it's like a game. It's like a scenario game, butterfly effect game, Dispatch. Now, Dispatch has that fan service stuff, right? Because they're trying to catch up. They're catching up. They're learning from us. We are learning from them. We're learning from the Japanese, right? The only thing is now is that ever since that you got these activists, like including activists like fucking this Japanese bitch mother who just wanted to enforce censorship on Bocchi the Rock due to the breast size, and it's like, and literally ignoring the parts of the manga, especially parts of Dandadan, However, now I understand. I understand. Japan has their own ways of censorship. For example, Bleach. Bleach was highly censored in anime. There are parts of Bleach that was very censored. And you just watch the manga. If you read the manga, they censored it. Jujutsu Kaisen. There were some scenes in Jujutsu Kaisen with one of the villain characters. They censored it. Yes, I understand. Yes, that's true. Japan anime studios will have a tendency to censor things. But they also have the right to to push beyond the boundaries of what manga had. Like gushing over magical girls, they didn't have none of that ecchi shit. They didn't have none of that over the top ecchi shit in the manga. The studio on the other hand say, all right, let's do it all the way. And because it's for the audience, it's for the audience that is, that are into that are based into that. It's for that audience. If I had to conform to a specific group of people that I invited who did not who wants to see this but they hate the context of it. Honestly, that person is not your friend. That nigga is not your friend. Those people are not your friends. Those people are just tourists who can't adapt to other stuff than just the stuff they like to see. It's the typical mainstream anime, Solo Leveling, One Piece, Dragon Ball, Naruto, Pokemon. They need to stay over there. And there's nothing wrong with shonen. There's nothing wrong with shonen. There's nothing wrong with Yu-Gi-Oh! All right? We all grew up watching that shit. But hey, as a person, again, you kind of had to filter you kind of had to start self-filtering some shit out of you. Are you grown? Anime is a life teaching lesson, so does everything else. Anime has more variety than most of us Westerners. However, again, we are catching up. And that's what this guy is doing. And guys like Hideyoki Anno and Hayao Miyazaki I gotta say, he based as fuck. They are based to say, listen, you can't adapt to it, get the fuck out. Period is that. I think that's all to it, guys. That's what I could subscribe to about this. Hope you guys enjoy this kind of description. Like, subscribe to my channel. I'm Element Reptile. We see each other. Ya bless, baby.